James, Independent on Sunday, backlash over Cameron's green sellout.
Yes.
And there's no doubt here, is there, that the green agenda is slipping off everyone's itinerary at the minute.
And with good reason. The green agenda is costing our economy millions of pounds when the last thing we need is to throw money out of the window, subsidising energy production that doesn't work. We are a cold, wet country. Solar panels do not work. They are not economically efficient. The only reason that any business wants to set up in the solar industry is because they get these feed-in tariffs paid for by the taxpayer.
Even some business people have ethics, James.
So it says here, a typical independent slant, it says, business leaders and environmental campaigners unite in plea to halt the cut in funding. Not business leaders, but people who own solar panel companies. It is called rent-seeking. They are exploiting the taxpayer. They are not generating real electricity. It is all, Mickey Mouse electricity. Good riddance to it.
Well, I think that you're very cynical. You're even more cynical than I am.
No, I'm practical.
This is actually about yet another promise that Cameron has reneged on. And this, group of this letter from 55 eminent groups who know what they're talking about in terms of the damage that global warming is doing, have actually pointed out that Cameron said that he would lead the greenest government ever. Now, why did he say that? If he has got his scientists...
Because he was a fool.
If he has got his scientists all lined up, as you do, claiming that there is no such thing as global warming and we don't have a problem at all...
I did not say there's no such thing as global warming.
Let's just say that you're very sceptical then,
yeah,
and you're a sceptic rather than a denier. Then why is it that he promised these groups and these individuals and these political activists that he would lead the greenest government ever? Yeah. Why was it a concern for him? It's not that he hasn't thrown money at scientists to prove a point such as the one that you're making.
It was a very silly political gesture. Look, if he come into power saying, we are all going to run off a cliff, and he changed his mind, would you condemn him for his U-turn, Julie?
I think that he was very very sensible in saying that he was going to halt some of the practices that's actually bringing this climate, this country and everywhere in the world into a really serious situation.
He's raping the economy with his green measures. He's not... No, he is, Julie.
Really?
It's absolutely...
I've looked into this. And your
this.
views are ridiculous
I've looked into this, and actually it is a complete waste of your money and my money.
So there's
you pay taxes.
Such thing as global warming that is detrimental on a long-term basis.
We've agreed that global warming exists, depending on the timescale you use. But that's irrelevant. The point is, are these solar panels going to save the world from man-bear-pig?
No,
they are not.
They might make it a little bit
not
less
even a
inevitable.
teeny, tiny,
maybe
bitsy,
a little bit less inevitable.
but they will cost us loads and loads of money. So good riddance.
Well, isn't there an argument? Isn't there an argument to say when we're under economic pressure, which we are, that something like this, which is subsidised by the taxpayer, is put on a back burner until a later date when we're in a better position to pay for it?
It's a false economy. Because things can only get worse, and we have to find ways. We have to find ways in order to slow down the process.
Global warming stopped in 1998, Julie. Did you know that?
No, I didn't. But this is a really little-known fact that I'm sure now all the viewers will be really enamoured with.
They will. I'm glad
I'm so relieved.
Educate you,
I'll
dear.
sleep well at night from now on, James. Thank you.
Good.
Love my neck.
You love this kind of thing. You love a bit of kind of argy-bargy.
Oh, I do. I absolutely do love it. It's what we're talking about here. Sunday Telegraph. I better focus on what I'm doing, which is double blow for UK growth. Who should I wind up first on this one? Julie?
Well, I think, quite frankly, the threat of a double-dip recession is, as we know, a very real one. There are arguments, and I'm not particularly going to argue strongly in this way, that because we have slowed our spending down right to the bone, then we're not going to generate any further income. And in fact, we're now going to drop from 2% growth in 2011 to 1% growth. So in what way is this helping the economy, the fact that none of us dare spend anything? I mean, you were talking earlier about the disgrace of printing money.
Yeah.
And I see your point. But in what way are we going to actually regenerate the economy if nobody is spending?
But that's what the government is doing right now. It is printing money. It is creating inflation. It is... I don't buy the Keynesian argument that the government, by spending more money, by borrowing more money it hasn't got, is going to spend its way out of recession. The fact is that it's causing the recession. There's a very interesting quote here, though, which I think says it all. This is from some sort of government insider. It says, it's not that there is a row over the growth strategy, it's that there isn't really a strategy yet. Every time we try to put something in, the Liberal Democrats say that we should take it out. So this is the problem. Actually, what they should be doing, obviously, is cutting taxes. If they're going to have, so that people have more money, of their own money to spend.
So cutting taxes for people who already have quite enough money to live on, making sure that people at the lower end of the scale...
They're the people who generate money for the people at the lower end of the economy. The government does not create money by borrowing. It just increases the national debt.
And in what way will that filter down to people who actually
That's
aren't
how
on the
economists
levels?
work, Gilly.
Right, well, I've learnt something else again.
So your Economics 101.
My education knows no bounds this evening.
Oh, dear. Spare a thought for me at home, won't you? Because it's... let's finish off.
We love each other, really. Yeah, we do. It's so fun and fun.
Oh, dear. I'm sure I've got a first aid kit here for the break, which we can dish out. Let's... Mail on Sunday. The Queen is renting out one of her palaces.
Oh, this is great, this story, it really is.
And here we go, with a throne room, which is amongst 3 the Queen has agreed to rent out.
You know, this is perfect, because I was wondering whether I should move myself and my animals out and rent my place out for a few grand a week during the Olympics, but the Queen is going one better. She's actually planning on renting out 3 very majestic rooms that can take up to 500 people for corporate clients, for kind of the wine and cheese kind of bash, for £30,000 a day.
30,000 a day?
Yeah, and David Stark is quoted in here as saying, and I absolutely see his point, well, you know, all of those that constantly slag off the royals for not earning their coin now should be appeased that they are actually trying to make some money out of what they've got. Those, of course, who are more on the anti-royal side of Starkey will suggest that this money is still going into the royal family and none of us will see any benefit from it. But for those who are going to be drinking wine and eating cheese in those splendid rooms, you know, what can you say? I mean, it should be a good day out. It's so close to the Olympic site. It's a prime spot. It's better than my house in North London.
Well...
You know, I have to admit it.
Are you sure? It really is.
Only just that side of it.
Brief thought, James?
I think it's fantastic. I think the Queen is a wonderful woman. I think this is characteristic of her thrift and good sense. You know, she's making money, making it work for the royal family. Good on her.
Well, there you go. Send us your views. News@sky.com, 84501 for your thoughts. Stay with us. We've got more papers coming up in just a moment.